Hi, I'm Leslie Hartman. I'm the Matagorda Bay ecosystem leader down here in Matagorda Bay. We are going to be discussing a request for a mariculture facility in Tres Palacios, part of the greater Matagorda Bay system. Here to help you today, we have a variety of people. We've already been introduced to Holly Grand. We also have Emma Clarkson, foundational in getting this program together. Karen Collins, who works here in the Matagorda Bay ecosystem. She is directly responsible for helping map out everything. Dave Yashako, also here in Matagorda. He is going to be answering your questions and answers. And Lindsay is going to be guiding us in all that we do and filling in any blanks that we might have on the big picture item. To start with, mariculture is simply aquaculture, but targeted for saltwater species. And so that's what we're going to be discussing today. Let's see, help me advance here. All right, so the purpose of this public hearing is to provide the public with information on the cultivated oyster mariculture in Texas, provide information on the proposed facility here in Tres Palacios, and then also to turn around and gather input and commentary from the public on this particular proposed facility. Just to give everybody a little background, we started out accepting applications for mariculture facilities in September of 2020. The procedure is oyster seeds are collected from hatcheries and stocked in floating or suspended cages. They are placed in public waters for growth to a harvestable size, and cages are then worked and cleaned to produce the valuable product. Cultured oyster mariculture oysters tend to be singles, Deaver Cup, and are a little bit more valuable than wild caught as they serve the half shell industry. This is a picture of what some facilities do look like. This is not local, but this is what you could have. The application G0003 is right outside of Turtle Bay in Tres Palacios, where the star is in this corner. You can see where we are over here. Going in, this is the footprint you could expect from this facility. And they would be coming out of the Palacios Harbor, so it would be a very short commute for them. The operations plan as they have provided us. This is in harvest area TX14, which is conditionally approved for wild harvest. What they are requesting is a total of 5 acres. They're suggesting they're going to experiment with 2 different types of gear. One is oyster grow using a 4-bag float cage with a maximum of 1,200 cages, and the other one would be 6-bag floating cages, also a maximum of 1,200. They are going to get their seed, and seed is young oysters before they hit 1 inch. It has to be the eastern oyster. It can be either diploid or triploid. Diploid just means they can reproduce. Triploid means simply they are sterile. It has to be a native Texas broodstock from either Matagorda Bay proper or the Galveston Bay area. And the source hatchery will follow all genetic and biosecurity protocols that we have. On-site operations. There's going to be access and on-site operations via boat daily. The floating cage system will be flipped on a weekly schedule. Cages will be pressure washed with soap and water on land every 2 to 4 weeks. Oysters will be tumbled to ensure they remain single. That will be completed on an as-need basis, either on the boat, if they can manage that, or at their local facility on land. And they will use flags and bird decoys to mark posts to ensure that birds are not impinged or entrained. It's a non-lethal bird deterrent. They're also going to use pilings to mark the far corners of their site, and then navigation 8-inch buoys to mark the stringers, and that is just as per navigation marking requirements. They also have submitted a hurricane plan to avoid loss of gear that could, potentially endanger folks. So this is what some of these systems look like. You can see it's just a floating set of cages with a certain number of oyster bags in it, 4 or 6. They float there, the oysters grow individually. You can flip them, that dries them out, that gets the epiphytes off, and then in a hurricane, you would submerge them so that there would be nothing to bounce around. This is what they are looking at for the 4-bag assemblage. You see, we are floating, we're going to put our bags in there, and we will flip them periodically. And again, that keeps the epiphytic growth off of them. This would be what the 6-bag assemblage would look like. And this is, they are also trying a different cage, provider. And this is exactly what it would look like. You see that the mesh is different sizes. They do grade out the oysters until they reach the 2.5 inch market value point. So this is what they are planning. They are planning 5 acres, asking for 5 acres. This is a schematic of 1 acre. And you can see that they are going to have buoys here. They're going to have their cages. They're going to have a running area here. And so this is what you would see out in that little footprint that they have. From the side, you can see everything would float. You'd be able to drop it to the bottom. And then after, say, a storm, you could re-air this and this would float again. So that is what their schematics look like. We also did to ensure that there was no competition or user conflict, we did make sure that a natural resource summary was done of that particular area. When we do a natural resource survey, the first thing we ask anybody considering submitting an application is do pre-consultation with Texas Parks and Wildlife field staff. We have a lot of maps, a lot of layers. Thank you for Emma's great work. And we know where oysters are, we know where bird rookeries are, any conflicts that we might have with gas and oil. So we try to steer people away from any obvious issues. And then we also require an on-site habitat survey to ensure that there's no particular seagrasses, or it's one of the things we're always looking for in that area. So in this case, the findings were we had no seagrass habitat within the required 200-foot buffer. There was no oyster habitat within the required 500-foot buffer, and there was no established bird rookeries within the 2,000-foot buffer. This is a schematic of all the samples that were taken to ensure that there was little to no impact on the natural resources as currently exist in this area. Next steps is we are going to consider public comment. Anybody who wishes to make public comment has until Thursday, November 4th to do so. And the application, in addition to dealing with us, they're going to need to secure additional permanent leasing from other state and federal agencies, such as the Army Corps, the General Land Office, TCEQ, Department of State Health and Human Services, and the U.S. Coast Guard. If you need more information, we do have a website dedicated to the Cultivated Oyster Mariculture program. It provides a lot of great background information and specifics should anybody be interested in themselves seeking an application. And should anybody have any comments on this particular application, the placement of G-0003 in Tres Palacios right outside of Turtle, we are asking that you submit any comments that you have to this oyster.mariculture@tpwd.texas.gov. And we ask that you submit those and we will do our best to answer. With that, I am going to stop sharing and see if we have any questions and answers currently available for any of the team to answer.
There's no questions yet. We'll give it a few minutes just to make sure that we aren't missing anything before we close out of here this evening.
Leslie, can you put the second to last slide back up? The one that has, I think, the email address on it.
Sure, be happy to. That's the one we need, yes?
Actually, it says second to last, sorry, my mistake. Second to last slide, the one with additional info for those interested. I guess one back.
We make it easy to do, right? There we go. Next steps. Is this the one I'm asking the Q&A people?
I say thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And as people have asked to see this slide again, I'm going to talk a little bit more to give anybody else a chance to type in a question. There are fees for some of this. There are direct fees paid to TPWD, as well as we have fees to, I believe it's GLO, Emma?
Yeah, the GLO has their own fees for the service lease.
So we'll give it another maybe 2 or 3 minutes before we close it down here tonight.
And I just want to thank everybody for joining us on Zoom and being patient with our technology. We're all getting better at it every day, right? I'm gonna hope our people already got the information they needed from that second to last slide. Just a reminder, anybody who has any comments or concerns that they want to express about this particular permit in Tres Palacios G-0003 outside of Turtle Bay is more than welcome to submit their comments to oyster.mariculture@tpwd.texas.gov.
Yeah, thanks for showing that again too, Leslie. I'm still not seeing anything come through here, so we'll give it until I go through my last little reminders before we wrap up for any last minute questions. Again, like I mentioned before, you're going to be receiving a follow-up email from Zoom if you registered and you attended. So in that email, that a link to that email address will be there as well. So if you didn't write it down tonight, or you might need to reference it later, you'll find it in that email. And the link or a link to the recording for this webinar will also be included in that email as well. And I'm still not seeing anything, so I think we're safe to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and thank you to all of our presenters or all of our panelists who are here this evening too. Appreciate it, everyone, and we'll see everyone later.